Jacarra Winchester, getting ready for the World Championships. How's that sound, Senior World Championships?
Sounds awesome. This is my first time there, so I'm really excited.
Yeah, so talk a little bit. I mean, everyone has a wrestling journey. How did yours get started? You're California native, right? But
yes.
Somehow it must have become something that you were convinced was worth giving a try.
Yeah, well, so I started doing track and cross country, just running and running. Then I got tired of running, so I was like, well, I need a sport that I can do. I was scared of rejection, so I didn't want to do a sport that you had to make the team, like soccer or basketball, because I thought that I'd be like devastated if I didn't make the team. So it was either between badminton and wrestling, and yeah, which is crazy. But so when I saw, and I got into a lot of fights when I was like younger, so I was like, okay, well, a way to channel my anger would be to do wrestling, so I chose wrestling.
Yeah, did you get pretty good at it right away, or did it take a few years to really get the hang of what you're doing out there?
I think so. I didn't know anything at all when I first came in. Like, they were like sprawl, and I was like, I didn't know anything about it. So I was a natural though, like, because I'm athletic already. And my first year, I won the CFI regionals or whatever, so the North Coast section. And then the next year of wrestling, I won state. So I like caught on really quickly. It was really nice. I think it was just more of like an ego thing. Like, I wouldn't lose matches because, not that I knew what I was doing, but just because I was like, this person's not going to beat me, I'm going to fight them, So I didn't have a lot of technique, but I had like a lot of motion, and athleticism that played a part.
Missouri Valley for college. Talk a little bit about your college experience, because it was part of bringing you here. You were a national champion at that school.
Yeah, so Missouri Valley, I was there from 2011 to 2015, and then I came here, and then I went back to finish up. And it was a whole different experience, because I was used to high school where your coach conditions you and everything, College is more of, if you want to be successful, you have to do it on your own, There's some coaches that will like be on you, but Carl Murphy wasn't that type of coach, He was more of an education type of guy, so he's like, we'll give you a scholarship, I want you to wrestle hard, but if you're not like a fighter, that's fine. I'll still give you a scholarship and you can do your schooling. But for me personally, I wanted to be an Olympian. I want to be an Olympic champion, world champion. So what I did was I went to the women's practices, and then right after I went to the men's practices. The coach, Mike Mockles, let me come into the wrestling room, and he let me practice with the boys, which was amazing for me because I feel like if I can beat an NAIA man, then I can beat any woman on the circuit, And it's just two different styles of wrestling, Men just go straight at it, whereas women, you have to like finesse stuff, technique and stuff. So that was good for me, and I think it just helped me build character. Later on, I found out that Clarissa Chun was training in Colombia, which is awesome because I was like, oh my God, I love Clarissa Chun.
That's true. So, that's not too long of a drive, right?
Yeah, so I started training with her and Sammy for a little bit. And then she started coming down to train with me, so I was getting just really good workouts there before I decided to move over here to the training center.
And how's the experience been as a resident athlete? Some athletes, it really makes a huge difference. Obviously, since you've been here, you've become #1 in the country.
Yeah, I like doing this. It's amazing because you have recovery, you have great partners, whereas if you're at an RTC or at some other programs, usually like you'll get paid to be there, but you'll have to wrestle with men, which isn't bad, but at this level, women wrestle differently. Our hips are different, so some moves that you think will work on a man won't work on a woman, like guts are different because our body types and stuff. So I think just having good partners, like we have Allie Reagan coming in and out, which is good, I have the residents here, I work with Amy a lot, I get to work with Sarah sometimes, just having that factor of good partners and that we have doctors on staff here. So anything that I need, it's here. It's like a 3-minute walk, if that, the furthest. So everything being here, I feel like I'm more focused being around people who have the same goal as you, want to be Olympic champions. No matter if it's wrestling, skiing, or like shooting or anything, everybody still has the same goal. And I think that if you surround yourself with people of the same dream, that it works out.
Had a great year. I mean, really. I probably want to win every match during the year, and you didn't, but you won a lot of matches overseas. Made the world team. Is there something different this year that you see in your wrestling or in your approach?
Yeah, I think that I just have a lot more fight. I actually believe in myself a lot more. I think it takes a lot of international experience to bring yourself up like that. Like, I think that there are a lot of cadets and juniors that can win world titles more if they only believed in themselves, you know? And you kind of only get that with international experience. Like, usually you'll think, okay, this person will beat me, they're foreign, they're better than me. But that's not the case, you know? I am a firm believer in if I wrestle like I wrestle in the room, there's nobody that's going to beat me, you know? That's why I see myself being a world champion. And because I train hard and I wrestle hard. Right before a match, I make sure that I feel completely blank, you know? Like, I'm not super excited, I'm not super, like, over the top or, like, scared or anything. I just feel blank because I know I've done everything, you know? I've practiced already, I've conditioned well, everything's in my control.
So, world medalist in your weight class, went into Final X and won it, right? I mean, talk about the challenge of beating Becca and, you know, what that meant to you when you were on the other end of getting that done.
Well, so nobody believed me that I was going to beat her, which is really funny because, I mean, if you think about it, outside looking in, she's a world medalist and on a senior level, you know, I've had junior medals and stuff, but I don't have a world medal. So I can see why people didn't think that I'd win, but I don't think they, like, realize that I've been here for a long time, you know, because I've always made national team. Like, for the last 3 or 4 years that I've been wrestling,
consistent, yeah.
I've been on national team. And I think I was an underdog, but they'd never seen me wrestle. So what I had to do myself is make sure that I was in the best condition as possible, because I knew, like, even when we wrestle in the room, like, I'd beat her during match day, but it'll be closer. Like, I beat her by 2 points or I beat her by 1 point, you know? And I had to tell myself, if I want to win a world championship, I need to dominate on everybody. Yep. I don't care if she has a bronze medal, a silver medal, or a gold medal. You know, my goal is to tech or pin somebody, you know. If I'm not tired by the end of the match, I didn't work hard. I didn't do my absolute best because I know what I'm capable of. So my thought process going in was to impose my will, you know. I had a great drill partner. I was working with Allie Reagan, and she's a little bit heavier, but she gives a really good feel, you know?
Yep.
And I'm like, all right, well, I'm getting these good feels that I know Becca's not going to give me. Like, certain reactions I know that I'm not going to get from Becca. So I'm just working on every possible situation, you know? Just muscle memory and working on the moves and getting to the best possible version of myself. I think that helped a lot.
And you talked a little bit about your goal, winning the World Championships. There's a belief there, right? I mean, going in, we've got one more tour, and then we've got a little bit of time before Budapest. But just talk about you said you get better with belief. This is one you truly feel you're capable of doing this year, right?
Yes. I think that, just like I said, if you do all the right things, it's not that you're expecting to win, but you know that nobody's going to beat you, you know? When I went into Final X, I knew Becca wasn't going to beat me because I made sure I went out of my way to get my diet right, you know? Before, I was always tired because I didn't diet right, and I was cutting weight the wrong way. Mm-hmm. So I take that out of the equation, so I feel great already. I have good conditioning, so I feel like I can wrestle forever. And I work on certain positions, so I know that I know those movements, you know? If somebody beats me, then it's for something that, not that I didn't work harder, they were just a better wrestler at that point in time, you know?
Sure.
But I am a firm believer that nobody's going to beat me because I'm going to wrestle like I know how. You know, I'm not going to give up certain positions. Before I was losing matches because if somebody got behind me, I'd give up. Versus now I'm like reaching back, throwing. I'm fighting in every possible position, just fighting the whole time.
So if you're going to shout out some people for being really key for your success, really well supportive of what you're doing right now, who would they be?
Mauricio Zahiro, he was my high school coach that got me into college wrestling and all of that. Mike Makos, because he believed in me and let me in the men's room to get me where I am today. Clarissa Chun, because I love her and she is my role model. Amy Fernside, because she took the beating the whole time coming up to Final X, you know. Izzy, I can't pronounce his last name.
It's Boynikov.
Boynikov, yeah.
Yes,
Izzy, yeah, he's always there. Titan Mercury for sending me on every trip, you know. Even the year that I didn't make national team, they made sure they sent me to everywhere that I needed to go. And Carl Murphy, because he gave me a scholarship to wrestle at Missouri Valley. So,
yeah, sure.
Yeah. I think that's...
Is this going to be a good team?
Yeah.
You feel good about your teammates also being ready?
I think everybody is, they have a good head on their shoulders, you know? Like, I see them, they're not just leaving practice right after, you know? They're doing extra work. They're asking the coaches, like, what do I need to do? What is this, you know? And for me, I think that shows a lot, because I noticed the people that didn't make the world team or the people that didn't make national team are the people, they're usually the first ones out the room, you know? They just want to get it done. They're settled. They're happy with being almost beating the #1 person, you know? They're happy with All-American instead of wanting to be a champion. And you can definitely see the difference between that. And I think some people were injured, you know, which they didn't get a chance to be on it, but I'm just excited for what's coming and what we're going to do.
Well, hey, congratulations on a good season, but there's more ahead, right?
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, what's a good performance for you next week?
I think it really, like, Poland I'm not really too worried about. I'm really focused on the World Championship. So whenever I go to competitions that's not like a national competition, or it's just growth, you know, I working on new moves, you know, like snatch singles or other stuff besides my main moves, you know. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be on the podium, you know, I'm certain of that, but I'm more worried about World Championship. This is like, there's some tournaments that I train through, you know, like, yeah, then this is one of them, train through just so that I'm peaking performance, knowing what I need to work on, you know, even if I do win my matches, even if I win the tournament, I'm still going to go back on video and see how I could have done better.
Sure. Well, hey, we look forward to seeing you in both events coming up, right? Especially Budapest.
Thank you.
Very good.